Hey everyone, Kristen Jaden here, Special Programs Coordinator at New York State Public High School Athletic Association. Welcome to November's Captain's Club. Every Captain's Club is about exploring the different roles, responsibilities, and expectations of what it takes to be a team leader. Doesn't matter if you're a captain, a bench player, or anything in between. During Captain's Club, we focus on you, so really use this time to reflect on your leadership skills. And just know, you taking these 10 minutes out of your day to be here is a step towards you getting better, not only as an athlete, but as a student and a person. Now, today we have a very special guest. His name's TJ Fredette. In high school, TJ was a student athlete just like all of you. In fact, TJ played basketball for and graduated from Glens Falls High School in Section 7. Since then, he's been involved in music, where he had the opportunity to perform in front of 15,000 fans at the Marriott Center in Provo, Utah. He's also collaborated with artists like Joe Budden and Grandmaster Flash. TJ also worked with his brother Jimmer, who many of you probably have heard of, and if you haven't, he'll tell you a little bit more about, and sports author Pat Ford on Jimmer's biography titled The Contract. He also spent a lot of his time working with athletes as a basketball trainer and camp coach. He's also the representative for the Fredette Family Foundation. Currently, TJ is pursuing a career as a motivational speaker, so I'm very excited to have him here today. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome TJ Fredette. TJ, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that. And thank you, everyone, for logging in. I appreciate you being here, giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I feel like as a motivational speaker, the best way to get a message across to any audience is to try to speak from experience. So I have some stories I want to share with you guys, and the stories that I have to do with my younger brother, Jimmer Fredette. Now, some of you might know Jimmer, some of you might not. So for those of you who don't know Jimmer, I'll give you a quick background on him. Jimmer graduated from Glens Falls in 2007. He played basketball and football. He excelled in basketball, and that was his main sport that he wanted to try to thrive in. So he had a really good high school career. He went on to play in college. He got a full scholarship to Brigham Young University, and he had a great college career. In his college career, his senior season, he was the leading scorer in the country. He ended up winning the Naismith Award, which is the College Basketball Player of the Year award. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated 2 times. He won the Wooden Award. He even got to win the SB Athlete of the Year award. So that was a pretty big honor for him. In 2011, he reached his ultimate dream of playing in the NBA. He was drafted by the Sacramento Kings, and he went on to play 5 seasons in the NBA. And now this year, he's playing professionally in China for Yao Ming's team. So, and hoping to get back to the NBA maybe by the end of the season. So that's just a little background on Jimmer. And the story that I want to tell you is my favorite story about Jimmer. Now, this story, there's a lot of stories I could tell you about him, but this one in particular, I think defines why Jimmer was able to be as successful as he was able to be. So I could tell you about a lot of different games that Jimmer played in his career. I could tell you about a lot of things he did on and off the court. But this story, my favorite one, has to do with me and Jimmer playing a game of one-on-one in our backyard when Jimmer was only 5 years old. Jimmer was 5, I was 12. I'm 7 years older than him. So I'm sure a lot of you listening right now are either older or younger siblings. I want to talk real quick to the older siblings. Now, as the older sibling, you know when you're going against your younger sibling, you know that you kind of have to set the tone. You want to let them know who the boss is, right? So we're playing in the backyard, and I'm letting Jimmer know right off the bat that I'm the boss. I'm the one controlling the backyard. I'm the one that is the big man on the totem pole. So we're playing, and he's going to the basket. He's driving. He's making his moves. Every time he goes to the basket, I'm swatting him. And I mean, I'm throwing his ball into the fence. I'm throwing it over the fence. I'm throwing it on the roof. I'm knocking the poor kid down. I mean, I'm just being merciless to this kid because I wanted to show him. I wanted to show him who the boss was, but I also wanted to make Jimmer tough. That was part of my reasoning. I really wanted him to be tough. And Jimmer was tough. Every time I knocked this kid down, he got back up. And when he got back up, he went at me even harder. Like it didn't matter what I did to this kid. He kept coming back at me. So finally, after swatting this poor kid probably 20 times, I finally think to myself, you know what? I think it's time to let this poor kid get a free shot off. So Jimmer gets the ball. He makes a move, dribbles right, dribbles left, comes back, gets to the basket. I'm shuffling alongside of him. He lifts the ball up to shoot. When he lifts the ball up to shoot, I put my hands down by my side. So Jimmer looks at me, and all of a sudden he just raises his hand. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this kid not shooting the ball? What's he doing? So he looks at me with his hand raised, and what he says to me next is something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. Here he is, a 5-year-old kid, had just been swatted, knocked to the ground, beaten up, bruised. And he looks at me as I allow him to get that shot off and put my hands down by my side. He looks at me and he says, try to block it. Try to block it. I had just blocked this kid 25 times in a row. I mean, I was just dominating this kid. And I'm finally going to give this kid a free shot. And he tells me to try to block it. That tells you everything you need to know about who Jimmer was and why he was able to be so successful. The will and the determination that this kid had at 5 years old was absolutely incredible. For him to be able to understand that if you want something in life, you have to earn it. You have to go get it. He didn't want to take the easy way out. He could have taken the easy way out and gotten that free shot. But he knew that he wanted to beat me the right way. It didn't matter how much bigger, how much faster, how much stronger I was. He thought he could beat me, and he wanted to do it the right way. And that speaks volumes about who he was and where his determination level was at such an early age. And that's very inspiring. It's inspired me throughout my life. And so as Jimmer went on, when he was in high school, he played for Glens Falls, and by his junior season, he was already a little local star. He was playing really well, and the media started coming at him, and the pressure started to build. And all of these things that happen when you're a basketball star or a sports star. And so I'm wondering if Jimmer still wanted to try to reach the next level in basketball, because now he's understanding there's more to it than just playing sports. There's things you have to deal with, and Jimmer was a really private, quiet kid. So we used to practice every single day. We had a key to a gym, and we'd go up there and we'd practice. And so we went up one night, and I looked at Jimmer before we start practice, and I look at him, and I say to him, Jimmer, knowing what you know now, everything that you have to deal with off the court, all the media, all the fans, all the critics, all the pressure, everything building, knowing this is only going to get worse the higher you go up, is your goal still to play in the NBA? Because that was always his dream. And he looks at me without hesitation, and he says, absolutely, that's what I want. I want to play basketball at the highest level, and I'm willing to deal with whatever I have to deal with to get there. And so I said to him, I looked at him, and I said, good, I'm glad to hear you say that. And I reach into my pocket, I throw a piece of paper down, and he looks at it, and I have a contract written on that paper. And the contract read, I, James T. Fredette, agree on this day, January 27, 2007, to do the work and make the necessary sacrifices to be able to reach my ultimate goal of playing in the NBA. And I had a spot for him to sign it and a spot for me to sign it right next to it. And I told him I wanted to sign that contract. And at first he kind of laughed, but then he realized I was serious. And I gave him a pen, and he signed that contract, and I signed it right next to him. We took that contract, we put it right above his bed, and every single morning when he woke up, that was the first thing he saw. Every single night when he went to bed, that was the last thing he saw. And that contract, that commitment that he made was a reminder and a motivator every single day of his life. And I urge you guys to do the same thing. I want you guys to go and write your own contract, or at least just write your goals out, write your dreams out. Take what you write, you have to have goals. You have to have dreams. They will push you every single day. And if you think about it, it is incredibly powerful and exciting to wake up every single day knowing that that day you can do something to get closer to reaching your dream. You can do something that'll help you to get to where you ultimately want to be. That's special. And that's something you can have every single day of your life. And so I want to urge you guys to write those goals down, write those dreams down, and do something every single day to try to get there. And I believe in every single one of you that's listening right now. You guys are student athletes. You guys have a lot of power. Like I said, unlimited potential. And you can all get there. You just have to try to work hard every single day. You have to make sacrifices. And if you're willing to work, you're determined, and you know where you want to get, you'll get there. And I believe that. And that's the message I want to leave with you guys today. I really appreciate you guys having me. And I think we might maybe go to some questions. Kristen, are we going to do that?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, TJ. Just a couple questions. I guess, what do you think was the biggest sacrifice Jimmer had to make when he was in high school to kind of reach his goal?
I would say that the biggest sacrifice he had to make was sometimes putting aside social situations. There might be times where they're having a party or kids are going to this or going to do that, and he wasn't always able to participate in those things because he had to practice. He was so determined and so disciplined to make sure that he always got his regimen in, his workout regimen, that, you know, once in a while you might not be able to go to that party. You might not be able to go get ice cream. You might have to change your diet. You might have to go and work out while everybody else is going to do something fun. Jimmer had to do those things, and I'd say those were the sacrifices he had to make, but he was willing to make them, and it was well worth it.
I know you're particularly involved in Glens Falls still. Is Jimmer also that way? And looking back on his experience, what was the most important thing about high school sports to you guys?
Yes, we definitely are both very still involved in Glens Falls athletics. Jimmer comes back every summer. We do 3-on-3 tournaments. We've done a lot of camps. Jimmer goes in and speaks to the kids at the camps and speaks to the football program he spoke to. And so we're very involved. And, you know, in high school, being a student athlete is just, it's like the ultimate reward to be able to play sports and represent your school, represent your city and your community. People look up to you. And I think that was the greatest thing, to be able to put on that jersey and represent your area. And, you know, you want to represent it the right way. So you want to make sure that you're doing the right things, you're staying out of trouble, you're staying focused. you're doing good in school as well as on the field or on the court, wherever you're playing. It's just a really rewarding thing to be able to represent your school and your community in that way, and those things were important to us.
Well, TJ, thanks so much for your amazing story, and I think the student athletes listening today can really relate to everything you said. And I just want to throw this out to the schools listening. If you're interested in having TJ come speak at your school, his contact information is on the screen right now. It's his Twitter is @TJ Fredette, and his email is tjfredette@hotmail.com. So please make sure you contact him. He's more than willing to come speak at your school. So I think it would be great for your student athletes to hear from him. So thanks again, TJ.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I appreciate it.
Okay, and before we go, I just want to remind you all of the exciting campaign we have with the NFHS called My Reason Why. Some of you may have seen it on our NYSPHSAA social media accounts, but the main purpose is to showcase the tremendous value of high school sports and what it brings to all of you, the student athletes out there. What we want to know is your reason why. Why do you participate on your teams? We want to know any and all of the reasons, especially the most influential moments, big or small. Now, if you're tweeting, using Instagram or Facebook, make sure you tell us your reason why by using the hashtag #MyReasonWhy. Also, make sure you tag @NYSPHSAA and NFHS_org. The NFHS is also collecting stories at nfhs.org/myreasonwhy to feature on their website and social media channels. We really want to feature some of you student athletes throughout New York, so make sure you check out the campaign video on that website and make sure you enter your reason why, because we definitely want to know. And obviously you heard some great stories from TJ today about, Jimmer's reason why and be involved in the community. So thanks for that. That's it for Captain's Club, November's Captain's Club, and thanks so much for joining us today. Special thank you to you, TJ, and make sure you contact forget, being a leader matters, and you matter. See you next month.